Welcome, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Goodman, Director of Marketing and Development for the YMCA of Northwest Louisiana, and we're here at 318 Latino Studios for Shreveport-Bossier, my city, my community, my home. And I can't wait for this discussion. Our very special guest today is Bob Thames. Bob?
Hey, thanks. This is a beautiful studio, beautiful place. I'm excited to be here. Tell a little bit about why I love not just Shreveport, but North Louisiana, my community. So,
well, you're fascinating, and I can't wait to go there with you. So,
no doubt.
You have a really interesting journey with a number of fascinating chapters, and hopefully we'll get to a number of them today.
Yeah.
But let's start here. You're one of Shreveport-Bossier's greatest advocates, an absolute fierce defender of this community. So my first question, simply, where does that come from?
Yeah, man, that's a good question for sure. So, for me, I was born and raised in Bethany, Louisiana, which is just south of Greenwood. If you go down Highway 79, take a left on Buncombe Road, go take another left, you'll see a flagpole with a Cowboys flag, American flag. We're not hard to miss out there. But grew up in Bethany, spent a lot of time in Shreveport in high school, went to Byrd High School, was in the magnet program. When I left Byrd, I left a little piece of my heart in Shreveport. I went to Ruston, lived in Ruston, went through college, had multiple jobs. And when I got back, I took a job with Great Raft Brewing, who at the time was, this up and coming kind of just force in the community. And craft beer in itself is something that just is so community involved. If you're not involved in the community and you're a craft brewer, you're not going to be successful, right? And so Andrew and Lindsay Nations, my bosses, the founders of Great Raft, they just instilled in us to have pride in what we were doing, have pride in our city, have pride in our backyard. And obviously that carried over for me, not just in how I do business, but really in how I run my life. I want my kids, my two daughters, Charlotte and Sloan, I want them to take pride in where they're from. And hopefully that is Shreveport down the road or wherever they choose to be. But I want them to have the same sense of pride in our community. But I think it really comes from that craft beer background, man. We were nitty gritty. We were doing events every week. We were doing fundraisers with nonprofits. We were out doing tastings at grocery stores and liquor stores. We were at the Mardi Gras parades. We had to put ourselves into every facet of the community that we could be into. And so, again, I carried that over into single source business solutions, which is what we're doing now. And a lot of people ask me, like, how do you promote an accounting business? Well, for me, I promote it just like I promoted craft beer. I want to be involved in the community. I want you to do your business work with me, whether it's accounting, tax, real estate, whatever it may be. I want you to do that because you see how much I care about what we're doing.
I'm going to pause you there because you are co-founder of Single Source Business Solutions. So. Yep. Tell me about Single Source and what sort of individuals and companies are in the wheelhouse for the services you guys offer.
Yeah, so Single Source started, my business partner now, Daniel Sant, he's a CPA. Daniel came to me and said, hey man, I've got this CPA firm. I started it, COVID hit, kind of struggling to really get going, but I want to go all in on this thing. Well, Daniel was one of my first bosses at Sundown in Ruston, one of my first real jobs. And I just always enjoyed working with him. He had just a tremendous work ethic and came from nothing and had built something, became a CPA. And at the time with Great Raft, I was kind of ready to make a move. I'd lost my dad, had two kids. The beer drinking, beer slinging days felt like they were a little bit over for me. And so I knew nothing about the accounting world, but I had a little ace in my pocket, which was that my wife is an accountant. My mother-in-law is a retired accountant. So I thought, well, if I can drag my wife into it, and I have Daniel there, and all they're asking me to do is go out and talk to people and build relationships, why wouldn't I give it a go, right? And so within the first few weeks, I really noticed a lack of conversation. A lot of the clients that we were getting, they were coming from other accounting businesses. And the main thing was like, we don't hear from our accountant. We don't hear from our CPA. We never hear anything. We don't know where we stand with things. And I just thought, man, why is there this lack of customer service? And again, I'm coming from Great Raft where it's customer service, right? And so we've now been able to instill that sense of customer service into the accounting business. But we grew over the last year from 6 or 7 employees to 13 full-time. We've got 3 part-time. We have clients all over the United States. I say our bread and butter is accounting and tax, but we are single source, right? We want to be able to do everything. We recognize people are busy and they want less relationships. They want less touches. But they really want somebody that cares about the work that they're trying to do. And so for us, yeah, it's small businesses, single member S corps. That's the accounting and tax side. We also do real estate. We do some business consulting, sales consulting. I pride myself as being a guy that has a guy for everything, right? That's how my dad was. If you needed new tires, you called so-and-so at Jim South. If you needed electrical parts or a motor, you called Mills Motors, whatever. He knew everybody, right? Well, working for craft beer, slinging beers behind a bar, you start to know everybody too. And so there's a ton of value in that for me to be able to connect people. And now as I've learned and grown, it's not just connecting, it's really building relationships and teaching people that, it is relationships over revenue. As Jimmy Graves puts, people over profit, right? You have to continue to pour back in the community and it'll come back to you tenfold. So.
Love that. All right. Well, Single Source is located in the Andress Artist and Entrepreneur Center.
Yep.
Andress was the vision and brainchild of the late Jim Malsch, who we loved having during one of our early episodes of the podcast and who is deeply missed by so many of us.
Mm-hmm.
It seems from the outside that you've picked up where Jim left off and making Andress a special place of special people, all working in a shared space, as well as a place that convenes community and serves as a hub for downtown Shreveport.
Yeah.
So tell me some of what's happening in Andress today and how you see its role.
Yeah. I mean, look, for me with the Andress, we had the opportunity to move up. We were in Cohab, working out of Cohab. There were some issues with the building. We went and saw Jim and he said, "Hey, come on in." And Jim had this giant room with these cubicles in it. And he said, "Take this whole room." And we're like, "Jim, we don't want the cubicles. We don't need the whole room. There's only 4 of us." And he's like, "Whatever, we'll figure it out." And that was kind of Jim, that. And so within a month, Cohab had moved up and it started becoming a home. But if you ask anybody that's in that building, there was no accident about some of the folks that were in there. Jim was very sure about putting people in there that were going to work within each other, right? And so I was lucky enough to know Jim really well and get to know Jim really well for about a year before he passed away. We had a lot of conversations about what Jim wanted out of the Andress. And I think if you ask Bobby or if you ask any of Jim's friends, they'll tell you that the Andress was purely a passion project. Will it make money? Hopefully one day, maybe so, right? But Jim wasn't worried about that. Jim wanted something for the community. And so currently at the Andress, the upstairs is full. If you've never been, the Entrepreneurship Center upstairs, absolutely full. We've got 10 different businesses represented up there: Pinnacle Realty, Epic Realty, Cohab, obviously Single Source, few other consultants and folks to be named, but Crawford Design is up there. Action Coach, Coach Ever, who I should definitely give a shout out to because that guy keeps our wheels turning every single day. Inquisique, who's one of the biggest and best rural health consultants in the country. It's a husband and wife that are older and just brilliant people, but everyone in that building feeds off of each other to a certain sense. But what really went missing after Jim passed away was somebody to tie us all together, right? We all had our own things going on. Andrew's got a million things. I got a million things. Jessica's got a million things. And then one day I just kind of looked in the mirror and said, "Man, I can't be Jim, but I can unite these folks and we can all put our heads together and continue to make this space what Jim wanted it to be." Jim, I don't think was a father figure for me. He was more of a best friend or a good buddy. And I really just want to see that building become what he had envisioned. And so I literally got kicked out of my office. We took over Jim's office whenever they were going to lease it out. And then a few months later, we ended up hiring so many folks so quickly that we were like, "Hey, we either move out of the building or we just start cramming folks into here." And I'm like, "No way we're moving. I'm not going anywhere." And so we actually pulled all our staff or most of our staff into the office, and we have a few desks with Cohab. But I got kicked out, which was the best thing to ever happen because now I just sit out on my comfy green chair and I wait on people to walk by, and it spurs conversation, it spurs idea, it spurs different resources. And so actively upstairs, we've got entrepreneurs working their butts off, just trying to make things happen. A lot of small businesses just grinding their teeth and getting it done. Downstairs, we're still figuring things out, right? Jim had the vision for the artist. A lot of the artists, once Jim passed away, those relationships kind of moved on. And so downstairs is empty. With that said, in the gallery space out front, I've made it my personal mission to just throw community focused events and primarily free community focused events, and also open
Downstairs or upstairs?
Downstairs. Okay. Yeah. In the gallery space out front. It's just a beautiful space. It's not going to be, I can't throw a 250 person festival, but if somebody's doing a happy hour or a mixer type fundraiser or an intimate dinner or something like that, that was what Jim always wanted out of that space. Jim wanted to see people in the building. He wanted people to come in there and feel energized. And if you go on the website and you read, there's a part about could this structure really help with creativity? And I guarantee you, if you come into that building and you sit, and it won't just be me that's being influential on you. If you sit in that building, you will feel different. You will think about things in a different light. There's just something about it. The building itself is beautiful, but the design, the layout, all those things, and you're in this piece of history, and then you walk out and you're just surrounded by beauty and history in downtown Shreveport. You're talking about 2-3 blocks were the buildings that were built in the 1920s. And so that's another part of it too, where Jim had that building, what that building is given me the opportunity to learn more about what's around it. And that's probably what's fed into that passion for not just Shreveport, but specifically downtown Shreveport.
And we're not going to talk, we can go there, but we were talking before we started, just some of the boards you sit on. So you do, just so people know, you currently sit on the board.
Yeah,
Shreveport Green, Strand, Community Renewal, and there was one more.
Shreveport Common as well.
Common, yeah.
And then I sit on my child's daycare board too at Noel Methodist. Man, people call me crazy. Why are you sitting on 4 boards? You own a business, you have 2 kids, you have all this stuff going on. I really enjoy feeding into the community. I enjoy having my ear to the ground, knowing things that are going on. And also, too, some of the folks that have asked me, like when Andrew Crawford asked me to sit on the Strand board, that's a great guy. If that guy's asked me to do something, I'm going to try to figure out how to do it, right? The Community Renewal with Jimmy Grace, one of the best fundraisers in Shreveport, but also one of the best just genuine people. They asked me to do something, I'm going to jump on it. And then Shreveport Green came along, and it was something where I enjoyed doing it. And then about 6-7 meetings in, Donna Curtis announces she's retiring. And I was like, oh crap, this is cool. This is a fun opportunity. And Lauren Jones, who I'd known from Ruston, ends up getting the executive director job. And now, I'm the treasurer on the board, which anytime, I guess, if you own an accounting business, it's assumed you know that stuff, right? Well, let me tell you. I'm an accountant, but I'm the relationship guy, right? So when they asked me to be the treasurer, I said, look, that's great, but I'm going to need to pull in some resources. And so we've done a really good job of cleaning up everything there and figuring out what state the organization was in. And Lauren's just doing a tremendous job in growing it. And then Shreveport Common, that's our backyard. That's where we're at. That's the neighborhood for the Andress. I want to see it succeed. So it was a no-brainer with the opportunity of Wendy Benscotter sit on that board as well. So keep asking me. I'll keep sitting on boards until they tell me not to.
Well, as is clear from our discussion, you already said it. You are a relationship guy, and I once heard you say the following. I heard you say, we have to continue to push each other and celebrate each other.
Yeah.
And I know the meaning of that might be obvious, but talk to me more about this. What does it mean to push each other, and what does it mean to celebrate each other?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we all owe each other a responsibility just as human beings to push each other to be better every single day. And that doesn't just mean in business or as a parent or as a husband or anything like that. Just in general terms, if I try my best and I push on you to try your best, then we're all going to be better. We're all going to prop each other up. But I think what gets lost in that is the celebrating of each other. I think that we pass milestones. I think that we live in a world now with social media where while we may think we're celebrating, we're just noting things and moving on. And I do think it's very important, and this is something Jim and I talked a lot about. I think it's very important to slow down and take note of when things are going right. You can't always have losses. You're going to win at some point. And when you do, you need to really relish in that. And the folks around you that see you winning, they're going to relish in that too. And
for people who need some people skill instruction or need some guidance with this, what does that look like? Like, guide me or coach me, help me understand how to celebrate one of my friends' milestones or one of my friends' successes.
Yeah. We're not throwing a party for every single little thing, but I assure you that when you reach out to someone and you take notice of the work that they're putting in, or the video that they put up, or the effort. You can see the effort. You can see the effort on their social media. When you pat that person on the back a little bit, it's going to keep them going. One of my biggest cheerleaders,
a text or a phone call,
any of it, man. A handwritten note would go a long way for a lot of folks. And too, as a boss, man, it's so important to make sure your team knows that you're rooting for them. If you're not going in and shaking your team's hand and meeting with them every single day, then you're failing them and you're failing yourselves. But one of my biggest cheerleaders in Shreveport's Kyle Bajuan, that owns Ellie and Chalk. Great guy. When I was doing fundraising during COVID, Kyle was the one that kept saying, man, you're doing this. This is incredible. You got to keep going, Bob. Like, we're going to do the Support City shirt. You're going to do this. We're going to get this. We're going to do that. And my success became infectious on them, but they were so excited for me. And again, it just became this wheel that was turning over and over and over again. And I do think, though, that we need to stop and celebrate. We need to stop and celebrate our city, our community, just as much as we're celebrating those little wins. We have to find a way to celebrate the big wins and talk about the cool stuff that's happening in Shreveport. Because look, we're not perfect. We never will be. We're not going to claim to be. There's nowhere in the world that's perfect. I've been to some of those beautiful places in the country, and I'll say the most beautiful place I've been, the most disgusting place I've been were the same place. I got off, and I won't say where it is, but you could figure it out. But I got off the plane, got to the Airbnb. Within 2 seconds, I see somebody doing drugs right out in front of us. The next morning, I wake up, a couple hours time difference, about 5:30 in the morning. I go up and I walk up this giant hill, and I look back and I see this city, and I go, this is the most, it took my breath away. I literally had to sit down on the top of this hill and go, man. But I say all that to say that we have beautiful things. We have bad things. Again, we have things we're embarrassed about. But if we spend more time persistently celebrating, consistently celebrating the good, the bad will go away. It won't go completely away, but it'll go away, and we'll have people that care more about this city.
All right. You asked me before we started, and I'll answer now. So we're nearly 150 episodes into this podcast, and numerous of those episodes have gotten into how we have a hard time with our overall self-esteem as a community and communicating our identity, what makes us unique and what makes us special. So my questions for you is, how do you see this? Mm-hmm. And who are we as a community?
Yeah, we're a resilient bunch for sure. It's funny. When I made the video, so the British guys came out with their video and they saw the motel, I had no intention of actually to physically fight, but that was the emotion that came across me when our city was painted in such a bad light. Again, because there's so many beautiful things that we have. I mean, if you go down Line Avenue, I would put a stretch of Line Avenue up against almost anywhere in the world when it comes to food, because you can get great sushi, you can get a great steak, you can get a great burger, you can get all these things within 2 seconds of each other. There's no traffic. You want to bounce down a side street and see some cool old houses on your way to the steakhouse? That's great. You want to cut back through the other way and see a art gallery? That's great too, So, again, there's all this beauty around us, right? And if we're not celebrating, if we're not in tune with that, then we're doing ourselves injustice. Who we are, we're resilient. We're people that are betting on ourselves every day. And not just business owners, but people are really betting on themselves in Shreveport, and we're putting our best foot forward. And so when it does come and there is criticism of us, I take it very personally, and probably more so than what I should. But I think we should all have a lot of pride in what we have. And I think for whatever reason in Shreveport, a lot of people talk about what we don't have or what we could have or what we should have, or, this road should be this or that should be that. But again, you take a step back and you really see what we do have. We have a beautiful city with a lot of history, with no traffic, or traffic that can be got around in 2 seconds, with a very low cost of living. There's a lot of places that should be jealous of us, and we should not be worried about what they think about us in the negative. We should be worried about what they think about us in the positive, and we have to showcase that. Otherwise, they're going to bring up the negative.
Do you want to talk at all about this hat that's framed?
The infamous Shreveport versus everybody hat. I mean, that's just the attitude right now. I feel like if you're going to come and you're going to come at us with something negative, then we got 1,000 positive things we'll show you back. And so that's us. It's us versus you. I'm kind of tired of just hearing about the bad things we have and the complaining and the we got to do this, we got to do that. Those things happen, guys. You go into any city and there's business closes, there's empty buildings, there's crime. That's all happening everywhere else. Why does it?
There are downtowns that are struggling
Worse than ours? There are downtowns where you can't walk past 6 o'clock, and it kills me because, like, in our business, I've had people call me and say, "Well, can you meet me at my car?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Have you ever been to the Andress Entrepreneurship Center? Like, you're good, I promise. Yeah, I'll meet you at your car, but that means we're going to walk around the block and I'm going to show you how safe it is." But again, yeah, there's all those things going on. Just look at the positive. That's all I ask. And so again, yeah, Shreveport versus everybody. If you come at me about Shreveport and you come at me about something bad, I'm going to come right back at you with me versus you versus us, Shreveport versus everybody. Come on.
And clearly, if Bob's coming at you, it's a lot different than if I'm coming at you.
Yeah, and that's funny too. I'm a teddy bear, man. I'm the least violent person in the world. I just want to open your eyes to what we have. I want to open your eyes to the people in our community that are making it what it is. I want to open your eyes, especially to the history. I think that's something that we don't show enough pride in. I mean, downtown. If you take a walk with me downtown, and anybody can find me, I'm not hard to find. Come to the Andress, walk with me downtown. I'll point out the buildings I know, you point out the buildings you know, but there's so much gorgeous architecture and buildings and just landscape in general. If you ever get the chance to sit in a room with Cedric Glover and listen to him talk about downtown and Shreveport, the way it was formed and this and that, you start to understand why it's such a special place. And that guy, I mean, I can't speak enough on Cedric and what he's working to do as we celebrate our 190 year as a city, right? And Cedric and I have talked about, we got 10 years because when we celebrate 200, people are going to recognize us. And that excites me. When you get people like that in that type of position that are pushing the envelope, hell yeah, let's go. Put the boots on, let's strap up. Tell me what I can do to join the cause and join the fight, and let's move forward. And again, that's my only challenge to people is if you think that we need something, call me, come find me. Let me show you what we have that's probably better than what you think we need. Simply put.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, those are my set questions for you today. As I told you before we started, we have all the time in the world, or there's a lot you've done, there's a lot you're doing. I love seeing all that you're doing.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to get into, by all means.
Man, I again, for me, I will always hopefully call Northwest Louisiana home. This city has given so much back to me. The people that have celebrated me in every step of the way, when it was getting the new job, when it was getting married, when it was having kids, when it was starting the business, the people that were there for me. Wesley Lazarus with Progressive Bank is my best friend in the world. He's been there for me when my dog died, when my dad died, when the kids were born. There's just not enough people I can thank in Shreveport that have propped me up over time. But there's also so many people that also deserve pats on the back for what they're doing in this community as well. And I love that you guys are taking the time and giving people the opportunity to share why they care about their city, why they care about their community. And I truly do believe that if we put relationships in front of everything else and we put positivity in front of everything else, then we can be whatever we want to be as a city. And the rest of the world can be damn watching us do it, But at the end of the day, continue to bet on yourself, continue to push better, continue to be the best Shreveporter, whatever you want to call it, the best person you can in Northwest Louisiana. And don't knock someone else off their ladder to get on yours. There's plenty of space out here. There's plenty of opportunity in Northwest Louisiana. And also dig down too. That's another thing I've learned as a business owner is the amount of resources that are out there for us. A lot of folks look at it and say, well, I don't want to deal with the city, or, economic development doesn't do this, or no. Like, go to EAP, go to economic development, go to the city, go to COHAB, go to these different resources that are out there and ask them for what you need. And if you don't know what you need, come to somebody like me that can hopefully help you figure out what you need. Keep pushing. This place is going to be incredible. It already is incredible, but it's going to be even more and more incredible over the next 5-10 years as we continue to grow. And I think folks like you, like Bryant, for letting us in here today. We got to continue telling our story. Otherwise, someone else is going to tell our story, and it won't be as good as us telling it. So other than that, man, I'm thrilled to have been here today. I'm thrilled to live in Shreveport. I am going to continue to root for us and going to continue to bust my ass to make this place as great as what it is.
Well, so appreciate you, Bob.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks.